President Trump and Kim Jong Un arrive in Singapore for nuclear summit. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un have both arrived in Singapore for a summit where Trump hopes to persuade Mr. Kim to give up his nuclear arsenal. Mr. Trump descended from Air Force One saying he felt very good, having arrived from a tense meeting with other world leaders in Canada. Hours earlier, a jet carrying Mr. Kim landed. Pyongyang has said it is willing to deal away its entire nuclear arsenal if the United States provides it with reliable security assurances and other benefits. After shaking hands with Singapore's foreign minister, Mr. Kim sped through the streets in a limousine, two large North Korean flags fluttering on the car, surrounded by other black vehicles with tinted windows, and bound for the luxurious and closely guarded St. Regis Hotel. To view this video, please enable JavaScript, and consider upgrading to a web browser that supports HTML5. He and Mr. Trump are set to meet on Tuesday morning in the first summit of its kind between a leader of North Korea and a sitting U.S. president. A U.S. official said on Monday that Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim will first meet one-on-one with translators in a session that could last up to 2 hours before they open the meeting to their respective advisors. Mr. Kim smiled broadly on Sunday evening as he met with Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. The entire world is watching the historic summit between North Korea and the United States of America, and thanks to your sincere efforts, we were able to complete the preparations for the historic summit, Mr. Kim told Mr. Lee through an interpreter. Mr. Trump is said to meet with Mr. Lee on Monday. Mr. Trump has said he hopes to make a deal for the North to give up its nuclear weapons, though he has recently sought to minimize expectations, saying more than one meeting may be necessary. The North has faced crippling diplomatic and economic sanctions as it has advanced development of its nuclear and ballistic missile programs. Experts believe the North is on the brink of being able to target the entire U.S. mainland with its nuclear-armed missiles, and while there is deep skepticism that Mr. Kim will quickly give up those hard-won nukes, there is also some hope that diplomacy can replace the animosity between the U.S. and the North. Any nuclear deal will hinge on North Korea's willingness to allow unfettered outside inspections of the country's warheads and nuclear fuel, much of which is likely kept in a vast complex of underground facilities. Past nuclear deals have crumbled over North Korea's reluctance to open its doors to outsiders. Your tea towel is absolutely disgusting and could give you food poisoning. Homelessness could be wiped out in 10 years if we follow simple plan. Woman's 2-year bout of piles turned out to be cancer. Another possibility from the summit is a deal to end the Korean War, which North Korea has long demanded, presumably, in part, to get U.S. troops off the Korean peninsula and, eventually, pave the way for a North Korean-led unified Korea. The fighting ended on July 27, 1953, but the war technically continues today because instead of a difficult-to-negotiate peace treaty, military officers for the U.S.-led United Nations, North Korea and China signed an armistice that halted the fighting.